right. So is live streaming now to YouTube. So welcome everybody. I am back doing my Transformation Thursday lives, bringing you another incredible guest. And in honor of is live streaming now to YouTube. So welcome everybody. Oh, that was weird. It's because the YouTube was
it is live streaming.
Yeah, it was like playing in the background along with me. I don't need it to do that. So, and it just interrupted my spiel. So I'm saying welcome back to Transformation Thursdays. Was on a brief hiatus throughout the summer, but now we're here to bring you incredible speakers and people who have learned to turn their pain into purpose to serve you and helping you become the best you can be. And I am joined today by my friend and mindset and empowerment coach, Thea. I have known her for a little over a year. We met because her son, she actually trusted her intuition, her gut, and decided to come and work with me so I could help her son feel better and demystify the diagnosis that she knew was bullshit. And I'm saying bullshit live, bullshit diagnosis of Hashimotos, because we worked on healing his gut, and that actually made him a happier, healthier, more vibrant teenager, back to his old self. She tells me, she said he's just like, springing out of bed, no more anxiety, none of those things anymore. His stomach's fine. He can eat pretty much whatever he wants, but within 80-20, which is the rule that I like to apply. So Thea's here, and she has she's done some incredible work. She's a certified infinite possibilities trainer. She's also a secondary math and science teacher, and I think the science is what attracted her to the way that I work. And we have got her here today because we're talking about how your breakdowns can actually lead to your biggest breakthroughs. And the idea behind that is in honor of World Mental Health Day, which was 2 days ago on 10/10. So Thea, I want you to share a little bit about your breakdown to breakthrough story.
Well, 5 years ago, I left my husband and went out to California to try to find myself and find my truth. And I discovered some amazing tools through Mike Dooley's Notes from the Universe, which you can sign up for at www.tut.com, and started receiving these notes from the universe, and absolutely knew that I was meant for more in this world. And I knew that I had to tap back into the positive person that I used to be. And I had fallen out of all of the beauty of life that I knew to be true. And so I came back from California with the new realization, with the new perception that my husband did not respect me and that was not going to work out. And so we came to an agreement that we were going to split, and it became an easy transition for me because I just was in this beautiful new place of breakthrough. And so I had really broken through a lot of my pain. And of course, there was very much more to the process, but I recognized that I was a beautiful person and I had a lot more to offer the world than what I had been doing. And I'd been numbing myself and holding myself back from achieving everything that I knew to be possible. And over the course of the next couple years, I joined the Train the Trainer conference for infinite possibilities, and I became an infinite possibilities trainer, and it has absolutely shifted my life in more ways than I can describe. So I've implemented the lifestyle, and it was always something that I knew, but it just came to the surface, and it became the highest thing that I could see and feel, and I knew that I needed to share it with other people. And so here I am today, sharing my message and helping people break through themselves.
I love this story because it's one that resonates with me and probably tons of other women, where relationships can actually be some of the biggest blockers or inhibitors to growth, and they can disconnect you from who you really are and from your essence. Because very often, if you've got a light that is brighter than the person that you're with, because they haven't tapped into what their light is about, they might try to block you from shining. And I think a lot of women who have been in relationships, even if they haven't split up with their husbands, but if you've been in a relationship where you have been, you've been with someone who is not supportive, who does not appreciate or value you or see your worth. My grandmother used to say pearls before swine. It's a terrible expression, but I think if you're with someone who can't realize that you are golden and that you are special and that you have stuff to offer the world and that they shouldn't be intimidated by that. I feel like that can resonate with so many people, and men included. I think there are women who also hold their husbands back too. So I think it's wonderful that you found yourself, or you're in the process of discovering yourself and your gifts and wanting to help other people do that as well. So I want to kind of dig in just a little bit about that. So you said when you came to California, you spent some time here figuring out who you were, what you're about. I have some questions that I had written down in advance, and I kind of want to get into those. Tell me about like that perception you said you came back with, that he didn't value you or respect you. How did you come to that conclusion, and what are perceptions and why do they matter?
So the perception is like the why you think things are happening the way that they are in a particular situation. And so I had this perception that I wasn't happy because of this or that or whatever. It was like the way that my husband was treating me, or the drinking that I was doing. And I was depressed, and I had this perception that my life was awful. And it just put me in this really negative place. And so it was a story I was telling myself in my head. And so that's your perception, right? Your perception of a situation is the story that you're telling yourself in your head. And it may or may not be true, but it's the story that you're telling yourself. And so your mind is such a powerful place because that's where those stories reside. And while we don't have control over other people, we do have control over the thoughts that we think and the choices that we make. And so when I was in California, I was actually on a healer's table, and I was just telling him my story. And he was the one that said, it really sounds like your husband doesn't respect you. And I just was like, what? I was like, that would never happen. I would never be with a man that doesn't respect me. And in that moment, I had an aha, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm with a man that doesn't respect me. And all of a sudden, my perception of the situation changed, and the story in my head changed immediately. It was just the perception of what I was going through. And so all of a sudden, I understood the why I was perceiving it that way, because I hadn't had the perception that he didn't respect me. I was telling myself all these other stories. So my perception of what was really happening was an untruth. It was not the truth that was underlying the situation. And so these perceptions come from our underlying beliefs about ourselves and about the world and about other people. And so I had all sorts of underlying beliefs about the way that I thought things should be and the way that things were not. And instead of really recognizing the truth of I was with a man that did not respect me, I told myself all sorts of other untruths, and I stayed in that situation. But as soon as I recognized the truth of the situation, I very quickly was able to change my mind and come out way more powerful. And I felt empowered on the other side. And I never went back ever to feeling as bad as I did.
That's incredible. So just that simple shift, that epiphany, that moment, and again, you had to kind of walk away from the situation, take yourself out of the situation to be able to see it clearly for what it was. So I feel like that's something that's a really powerful tool that people can use whenever they start feeling like they're drowning or that they're suffocating. Like, how can you find a way to extract yourself, even if it's for like 24 hours or an hour, or lock yourself, for me, when my old banking job, when I was going through my burnout, I would go and lock myself in the ladies' room for like 10 minutes and just practice some centering exercises and some deep breathing and meditations before I could go back and but because I knew that would help like rebalance my nervous system, help me look at things from a fresh perspective, without getting stuck in the downward spiral of like everything's crap, life's no good, I'm no good, because very often that's the ticker tape. It's like, I'm the one who sucks. I can't get it together. So once you got through that and you used the shift in perception to help you see things as they really were, what were your next steps? Like, how do you pull yourself out of that negative thought spiral when you do tend to fall into one, when you can?
Yeah, that's still a struggle for me. I mean, it happens to all of us, but
Right.
I want to send a really clear message that like everybody worries, right? Everybody goes into those negative thought spirals. So the trick is recognizing when you're in one
Mhm.
and then doing the things that you know will pull you out of it. So I like to call it changing the channel.
Nice.
And it's not necessarily as easy as it sounds, but it's interesting how a lot of people actually like to stay in the negative thought spiral. And it's kind of like self-sabotage. And so it's interesting because we all know that we feel better when we feel good. We feel better when we are having positive thoughts, and positive thoughts are 10,000 times more powerful than negative thoughts. And so when we're having powerful thoughts and positive thoughts, we feel good. So why wouldn't we want to feel good? So some tips for changing the channel is to actually do something that you love. Physically do something that you love, journal, meditate, exercise, do a heart meditation, which definitely includes deep breathing. Call a friend. All of those things have been proven to have a cascade of hormonal responses. And what that does is it releases all these like positive love hormones, oxytocin and dopamine and adrenaline and all of the good hormones that help us to feel better. We all know that we feel better when we exercise. And so when you're in that negative thought spiral, if you actually make that conscious effort to do something that's going to release the happy hormones, you will feel better. There's nothing you can do. You cannot hold a positive thought and a negative thought in your body at the exact same time.
That's so true.
So if you can change the channel, then you can actually start thinking new thoughts. And the more practice that you get with this, the easier it is to just start thinking new thoughts. Like you can actually just pull yourself out of a negative thought spiral by thinking loving, empowering thoughts about yourself, about your world, by choosing gratitude, finding things to be grateful for. There's so many practices that you can do, but it's really important to change the channel. And that has a lot to do with your hormones.
Yeah.
And so
This is all neuroplasticity that we're talking about here, and epigenetics, and a lot of cool things that, that I also use with clients in terms of, training the brain to rewire these neural pathways. Right.
Yeah.
I like the idea, obviously, changing the channel. It's just such a simple concept that everyone can get. Right. So it's like, hey, what? You turn down the noise, that internal self-talk, that negative self-chatter, turn it down, mute it. And you can do that by, I always tell people, like, having a pet, stroking a dog lowers your blood pressure. Going for a walk, changing the scenery, like what you said you did. You kind of got out of the current situation you were in, you went somewhere else, you had a change of scenery. There are lots of physical ways to change the channel rather than trying to sit there mulling and ruminating and playing things over and over in your head. So I love these suggestions. I love them. So if I would, you mentioned heart meditation. I wanted to get a little bit into that. So can you explain a little bit to the people who are here, what's a heart meditation and why is it such a powerful tool?
So again, I love the science of change. I love the science of this program that I teach. And being a scientist, I love to bring in all the science. And so my most favorite thing to talk about these days is the heart's electromagnetic field, which is the same shape as the Earth's electromagnetic field. And it's absolutely wild to think about the fact that nature just repeats itself in everything. And so this electromagnetic field goes out our head and it comes back in through our root chakra. And so when you do a heart meditation, you're actually you're slowing your breathing, you're touching your heart space, and you're choosing a feeling of gratitude, care, or compassion for yourself or for others. And you're sending that out through your heart, and it comes back through your root chakra. And so you're sending it out and then you're giving it back to yourself. It's the most incredibly powerful and simple thing that I've ever done for myself. Talk about getting yourself out of a negative thought spiral. You can do one of those. You can do the heart meditation for as little as 5 minutes, and you will feel like a completely different person.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's amazing the love that you can send others, but also you end up sending it to yourself. And these heart meditations, there's many of them. You can find a lot of them on YouTube, and they're just really powerful. But once you learn the technique, you can just do it yourself. So again, the 3 tips, the 3 tricks to a heart meditation are to touch your heart space. Doesn't even matter how you touch it. You bring your awareness to your heart. You slow your breathing, and you choose a feeling, a positive feeling, gratitude, care, compassion. And you just breathe into it for as little as 5 minutes. And the longer you do it, the more powerful it is, but it's incredible. Absolutely adore them.
So if I get this right, I have this visualization that by doing this, you're literally recharging your battery. I can see yourself like just getting filled up, and with all the good things, and it's sort of like, if you wanted to think of the body as having like 2 sides to it, it's sort of like one side, if you fill it up with like the crappy, sludgy, dark, energetic things. So, and then the heart, when you do the heart meditation, that basically brings that down. And then instead you've got like all the beautiful, I'm looking at blue, green, white energy just kind of flowing up into your body and filling you up and resetting and recalibrating all of your cells and your brain, your heart.
And the cool thing is that this is measurable by scientific instruments. They can see it. They can see the aura. They can see your heart's electromagnetic field, and it expands outward when you do these heart meditations. And so it not only does it affect you, but it affects the people around you.
That's incredible. Yeah. So again, it has so many parallels with what we've seen in neuroscience with mimicking and, neurons mimicking other neurons, and that someone who walks into a room who's in a bad mood can like shift the entire mood of the room because of their neuronal activity. But this is now on a literal energetic level. This is so cool. Very, very cool that both sides of the science, the heart and the brain, are doing the same thing and literally changing matter around them.
Right. It looks like Christy has a question.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to add to it. I don't know if everybody's heard of a theremin, it's called. Thea had mentioned you can feel and see scientifically your aura. Well, you can do that with a theremin. You've heard of one? It's an instrument that you operate on electromagnetic frequencies. Like, you don't touch the thing. It's emitting its frequencies, and you use your energy to make the music. It was made in like the 1950s by, I can't remember his first name, but his last name was Theremin. And that's what the instrument's called. It's a theremin. You can look it up, Google it, and see. It's spectacular. I've always wanted to try one.
Wow.
Theramin?
Theremin or theremin, something like that. Just put in theremin. It's close to the spelling as you can get instrument in Google, and I bet it'll bring it up.
Interesting.
Very, very cool. I'm so going to check that out because I love all these kinds of things, as you know, like anything to do with like rebalancing energies. I think it's phenomenal that we can do that. And you can I love using the breath because I always tell people, like, you don't have to get fancy. You could literally just use your breath. But if you wanted to measure it, which I totally geek out on, the measuring of things is because, again, you can't, if you don't measure it, how can you manage it? Right. So you want to know what your baselines are, and then you want to know how to improve from there. So Thea, like in the next sort of like 5 minutes that we've got together, I wanted to ask, how can living in the moment help you shift your mindset? Because everything that we've been talking about is creating shifts, right? Like, how do we create shifts from one state, from like a low vibrational state to a higher vibrational state? So how can living in the moment help you shift your mindset?
So first off, everything I've said about a heart meditation will bring you into the moment because, it helps you get completely focused on the present. And so that's a way to bring yourself into the moment. But living in the moment is so important because there is only this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else even exists. The past does not exist. The future does not exist. And our human experience is so caught up in our pain from the past and our concern and worry for the future.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes us out of the present moment. And so when you're not living in the moment and you're living in the past, you're letting the pain or the concern from things in the past, you're letting it affect your present moment. And if you're worried about the future, then you're changing your present moment into worry about something that you don't really have any control over because it's not even here yet. And so your power lies in the present moment. And when you can bring yourself fully into the present moment, then you experience things right now as they actually are. And you stop telling yourself those stories from the past, and you stop living in the pain from the past. Because it's so powerful to think about the fact that people choose to live in the pain from their past. They're choosing it because they're thinking about it.
That's right. And they're not conscious. And this is the thing that about what your work is it's so powerful. It's helping make the unconscious conscious, right? So the things that people aren't aware of, you're helping them realize like, wait a second, I'm actually doing that. That means I am living in my past. Yep. If I am fixated on things that have happened, then I am stuck in the past. And I don't know how many people here are tuned into Joe Dispenza at all, but this is pretty much the essence of all of his work. Like, and you want to get out of that place and you want to look forward to being focused on creating the future that you want for yourself. And in hypnotherapy, which I do use with my clients as well, with the whole CBT model, it is all about like, well, the here and now. And again, very, very similar to everything that you're talking about, and getting people to think about, well, what is the vision of the future that I want to create? What does that look like? So if I had to ask you for your sort of like your top 3 most powerful things that you can do right now, talking about the here and now, that you can do right now to shift into this new version, into this new story, because you keep using that beautiful expression, like we're stuck in an old story, an old paradigm. What are your top 3 most powerful things that our listeners and viewers and people who are capturing the replay, what can they do to help shift their story?
So think new thoughts. Absolutely. Think about what you're thinking and try to catch yourself in those negative thought spirals and change the channel. Do your best to think of something empowering, loving, and positive. Again, reminder, positive thoughts are 10,000 times more powerful than negative thoughts. And don't worry that you worry. Everybody does it. With practice, this gets easier. But think new thoughts. That's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, and I haven't talked about this yet, but visualize the end result of how you want to feel. Yes. How do you want to feel? Say you want a new relationship. Don't picture yourself with a particular person. Picture yourself feeling the way that you want to feel when you have the love that you're desiring. If you want a new job, visualize how it's going to feel when you get that job. Visualize the feelings, and you can do this in as little as 4 minutes a day and start taking action towards that end goal. How can you make yourself feel the way that you want to feel?
Amazing.
And the third thing is to change your beliefs, right? Look at those perceptions that you have and change those beliefs about yourself in the world. And when you don't like what you hear or observe yourself saying or doing, right, you catch yourself saying, oh, I don't like my body, or, oh, I'm not lovable. Catch yourself. You can actually change the underlying beliefs by reversing some of the things that you think, say, and do. It's really a powerful exercise, but You can start changing those underlying beliefs by just changing the things that you think, say, and do. And you can catch yourself anywhere in the process. You can break the pattern and you can get off of that karmic wheel.
Wow. Wow, so powerful. Thea, thank you. Thank you so much. How do people get in touch with you if they want to know more? Like what, I feel like there's just so much, half an hour is not enough. It doesn't do you justice. Like what more do you have to offer us? Like, how do we find you? How do they get in touch with you? What are your social media links? All those things. Share with us now.
So I'm on Facebook at The Heart of Possibility. That's the name of my business. And my website is theamcgaffey.com. So www.theamcgaffey.com. And you can find links to that through The Heart of Possibility on Facebook, if The Heart of Possibility is easier to remember. I'm also on Instagram as Thea McGaffey and on LinkedIn as Thea McGaffey. So, but my website has all of my offerings. It's got my top 10 knowledge nuggets. A lot of the things that I spoke of today are on there. You can get that freebie there anytime. And I am offering Infinite Possibilities workshops. And so my next one starts next Thursday. And it is a 6-hour virtual workshop. And it's done in 3 different weekly sessions of 2 hours each. And they do fly by. And we have a workbook that we work through. It's a lot of self-analysis. And right now I'm running a discount for 50% off if people sign up through Sunday, so October 15th. So 50% off my workshop price. Again, that's for a 6-hour virtual workshop done over 3 weeks. And it is Thursday evenings from 6 to 8 p.m. starting next week. And I often run them on Saturday mornings as well. And I usually have about 1 workshop every month. So if you miss this one, you just sign up for information and updates on my website, and people can keep track of when my next workshop offering is.
Amazing. All right. Fantastic. Thank you for that. But I'm guessing the discount isn't for all of them. That's literally just up until Sunday for the one that starts next week. Yes.
Right.
So, right.
Yeah.
So this is probably the best deal you're going to get on her workshops if you sign up because you've been here today. And for those who are listening at the on the replay. So, Thea, so powerful, so beautiful. I have loved every second of having you here. I kind of want to make it like a weekly thing now. Like I'm like, oh, this was kind of empowering and exciting. You know, you've got such a light and your story is very, very powerful. And I think a lot of people are going to connect with it. Like they're going to resonate with the fact that, you know, you've come out of the crappy relationship. You didn't let it kill you. It made you stronger. It made you wiser. It made you more in love with yourself than ever. And that's made you a better mama, a better person, a better teacher. You're there to impart wisdom to people. So I feel like you're winning at life and you're going to show other people how to win too.
Thank you. That's my goal.
Yeah, I can see that. So Tiffany, Christy, Becky, who joined a little bit late, anybody has any final questions before we wrap? You can come off of mute or come off of, if you are on mute or you're off camera, you can come on camera. Hi, Becky.
I just wanted to say thank you for hosting and having us here today. And for some reason, my mind just thinks in quotes. And the quote that comes to mind watching Thea live out her journey is that when we give ourselves permission to let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. So thank you, Thea, and thank you for hosting. Yeah, have a wonderful afternoon.
Okay, yes. So I think it's nighttime where Becky is. She's on the East Coast. I think everybody else here is like Colorado, Mountain Time, Pacific Time. But if there are no more questions, then I just want to say thank you to everyone who joined, and thanks for everybody who signed up and who couldn't make it and will catch the replay. If you have questions for Thea or for myself, feel free to drop us a DM on Facebook or Instagram, and we will see you in a week for the next Thursday transformation. So take care, everybody. Bye.
Thank you so much, Raywin.
Bye.
Bye.